Oof. Okay. Oh yeah, there it is. Hey guys. So for those who are joining us online, we just got the audio figured out. We just went over sign up, so you didn't miss anything. So we did want to acknowledge 1 year anniversary of data. Nearly a year ago on July 20th, we held our first official public meeting across the street at the Metropolitan. And we had the idea of forming a transit alliance for the Dallas area. We had a lot of silly names for how we wanted to do it. I think it was North Texans for Better Transit, North Texas Transit Alliance, NTTA. You know, a lot of good ones. We rose up pretty quickly over the idea of all these suburban cities just passing all these resolutions, and we got our act together pretty quick, I'd like to argue. So over the past year, we accomplished a lot. We went ahead and drew media attention over a comment from a former city council from Farmers Branch for calling Dart riders trash. We did the little trash pickup. That was awfully cheeky of us. Questions later. We fought for a 5% ops increase in Dart's budget. We preserved service and make sure they pass the budget. Remember that Plano's reps and I think Irving's rep voted against that budget, even though they said Dart wasn't doing enough for them. Really awkward. We advocated for a new bus procurement to replace aging old buses. That's really cool. That is happening, as far as I know. We made sure we contributed to the longest Dart board meeting in recent history over the GMP. Yeah. We were a large driver of people speaking against cuts to frequency and service. We're back. Okay. Nobody supported the cuts to frequency or service. We had the Nadine Lee, the one and only, show up at a data meeting and answer questions from the audience. That was really well done. That was awesome. We got Paul Rageman to resign from the Dart board. Literally, we did it, Reddit. Like straight up. Yeah. Data represented themselves in Austin's not once or twice, but thrice. I'm going to use a big word there. During the legislative session. So thank you guys all who went down there. Give yourselves a pat on the back. And then this is in the way. So we've kind of raised the public media awareness and shifted, in my view, the Overton window of transit discussions in the media in Dallas. People come to us for interviews. I just got a call from WFA this week. I couldn't make it, but they did call me. So there are people who know of us. They want our opinions on things, and that's thanks to a lot of your hard work. So nice work, everybody. Happy 1 year. Okay, so now over to Kui for upcoming events.
All right, so there isn't a lot of upcoming events that we have going on, but there's just a few. Like, so we have this is just something I found interesting on my calendar. It's posted by my Chamber of Commerce. There's a train day in the city of Saxe. Unfortunately, not transit accessible, but it does look fun. It's July 26th at 10 a.m. August 1st, there's a budget workshop. We'll talk more about that in just a bit. August 7th, there's an RTC meeting, and I believe they're going to talk about Transit 2.0, as they have been for the last who knows how long. Yeah. Oh, that's right. It will be in Irving. No, it will be in Irving. I forgot that for August, they do it in Irving. August 9th, we're going to play something called Hide and Seek Across Dart. I think it'll be fun. We'll see how it is. I did a play test with Colin like yesterday, actually. Or 2 days ago, whatever. It worked pretty well. So we think it'll be fun to just hide across the Dart system and somehow try to find each other using clues. Data Book Club, August 17th, 1 p.m. Warren, what are you guys reading? Right of Way, chapters 6 through 10, if you're listening. And they will decide on the next book at that same time too. August 23rd is our next general meeting, and we are going back 2 floors down to the Hammond Room, 5th floor, Dallas Public Library, you know, where we usually are. August 26th, another big important meeting is the Dart board meeting at Dart HQ. The board is expected to approve service changes on this date, but you know, we never know, but that's what they've been saying. And I just want to look ahead with some other upcoming events. September 27th is our September general meeting, which has also already been scheduled, and it's in this room. So we get to be in this room again in September, and it will be the elections for the expiring term officers, and we will launch a form in mid-August. So if anyone wants to run against an incumbent, you are free to do so. But I don't know how Tyler looks about that.
No, it's cool. Just any position but.
And we also have Week Without Driving after that, which is September 29th through October 5th. And there will be more information about Week Without Driving. We'll talk about that at the mixer as well as just briefly here, but it's just mainly, we're going to be doing Week Without Driving again. Now I'd like to invite Ken up here to talk about a volunteer deputy registrar and about voting in general.
Yeah, oh yeah, you got it.
Yes, I'm a deputy volunteer registrar with Dallas County. Anybody can do it. You just sign up online, you go in, the class takes an hour, and they give you your stuff, you're good to go. It's whenever you make a appointment to, or you try to make an appointment to see a public official, there's always certain things the staff is going to look into before they call you back. They're going to want to know if you're registered to vote in their district. If you're registered to vote at all, they can find out through public records if you voted in one of the primaries, and if so, which one. They'll look and they'll find out if you donated money to their campaign. They can also find out if you donated money to other campaigns, if it's beyond a certain threshold. All of this is public information. You may even get a friend request when you try to make an appointment with one of these officials, because they're going to want to look at your social media. But in any event, if you are registered to vote in Dallas County, you should have a yellow card that looks just like this. If it's any other color, come see me. If you don't have a card at all, come see me. If you've moved recently, then come see me. And I'll get this filled out, and you will get your card in the mail in 10 to 15 days. So let's rock and roll.
Is there anybody who's not registered or is unsure right now? Raise your hand. I thought not, but I just wanted to.
Good. That's good. Okay. Well, for those that are not here, come see me the next time you see me at a meeting.
Thank you, Ken. Okay, so this has been kind of in parallel to something I've been working on with Phyllis and a couple other people. I think next year we're going to move to get some of these sitting city council members unelected. So you becoming a deputy registrar to get people going could help us early next year in a couple walkabouts through certain towns, Irving, Addison, everything, to get people in apartment communities especially registered so we can get them out and voting, because voter turnout in local stuff is super low. So it would only take like literally one building of residents going to shift elections in a more favorable view. So stay tuned on that early planning stages next year. But if you can get registered to vote or become a deputy registrar, it's going to help. Yeah, what's up?
Just emphasize on that, in Irving, we had two candidates that we found preferential, and they both fell short by 50 votes or less.
By 50 votes or less. So the people we helped, David was saying, for those online, the people we helped in Irving only fell short by 50 votes. So if we did like literally 2 more weekends of walking, we could have swung it. So that's a question. Yeah, I think because the North Central Texas Council of Governments does have representatives from all cities that have a decision that affects DART in a lot of ways. So yes, exactly. So having DART friendly, or at least transit friendly people in surrounding cities is a bonus, if slightly less of one, but still good. Yes. It'd be laying the groundwork for it for more DART member cities. If you got a guy in Frisco who's like, I like trains, you know, like, hey, that's nothing but a good thing. Okay, any other questions? Is Exel here?
He's running late.
He's running late. Okay, we can circle back.
I think it's just advertising the event.
Okay, tell you what, I'm just gonna do it for him.
Hi, Hexel.
Yeah, hey Hexel, it's me, Hexel. So we have a mixer this evening with the Dallas Urbanists. We've had some recent pushes to get some more people out. So this one's about growing and multiplying. Want to get more involved in local advocacy. This is kind of a catch-all group in the Dallas Urbanists. So recommend you guys coming out. Oh, is that why? Okay, there we go. So we recommend you coming out and learning more about Dallas Urbanist Strong Towns local conversation, and we can hear about a few local groups making a big difference, I think including us. It's at Ye Olde Scarlet Pumpernickel, 5 p.m. after this week's data meeting. So we'll have some time to grab some food and then grab some drinks. Okay, David, your report.
Round of applause for Hexham, Colorado. I'm actually Hexham's next.
All right, guys. Good to see y'all again. Just on a personal note, I just got back from Toronto. Beautiful city. If you love transit, you love good food, you like friendly people, check it out. Great place for a summer vacation. Or to move to. Free healthcare, guys. Anyway. Okay, once again, please contact me. Reach out to me. Reach out to your reps. Help arrange a meeting. I need help. Help me, please. Okay. Now, especially, is a good time to start building relationships with people both at the local level and at the state level. This is definitely needed as we prepare for the next session. A couple of years from now, it'll get here a lot quicker than you think. So we need to start putting in the groundwork now. We're already working on some meetings with board members on the DART board and some local leaders. I won't go into details. We do have some meetings with some folks, hopefully in Carrollton here shortly, just for example, but I'd love some help with people meeting with council members from Plano and Irving. But any city, of course, and then definitely we need more meetings here in the district with Texas state level leaders. This is going to be extremely important again to help protect the transit we ride, right, as we look forward in the future to what may be possible in the next legislative session. Okay, guys, if you don't mind, watch what you say, whether it's on Discord, GroupMe, social media. Apply this to your personal life, certainly, in your professional life, watch what you say on LinkedIn or whatever, but watch what you say on the Discord. If you get some bit of news that you think might be important, but not everyone knows about it, why don't do us a favor, keep it to yourself. Loose lips sink ships, right? People are listening. People that are working against us are listening and are paying attention on various social media. So watch what you say. And if you have some sort of important information that's not commonly known, that's not necessarily the most public information, share it privately with me or any of the execs, please. And then we can utilize that information to the benefit of our organization and to the benefit of the transportation we love and are trying to protect. So very important to, again, think before you speak, think before you post or type something on Discord or whatever it may be. And please don't hesitate. If you get some bit of information that you think could be useful, please reach out to me or any of the execs. We're here to help. We're here to utilize whatever tools and information at our disposal to be the best and strongest advocates possible for public transit here in the Dallas area. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Khan. I'll be going over some stuff that's going on in the background that's not necessarily, open. You can all find this online. It's all public information, but not all of us have time to scour through everything. All right, so let's start off with a special legislative session. So Governor Abbott has called for a special legislative session on his priorities. There's THC legislation. He vetoed the total ban. He wants more of a regulated approach. There's, of course, redistricting. I'm sure there's a lot of media about that. There's a bathroom bill tacked onto this thing. Flood warning systems, tax reform, also publicly funded lobbying, and also something to eliminate STAR testing. So, yeah.
That's actually not a terrible idea.
Yeah, there was a bill to eliminate STAR testing in the regular session, and it didn't pass because of there were questions about, well, what's the replacement? But this was still on the agenda, so they're gonna have a go at it again. Let's see what happens. And for this special legislative session, Plano, Carrollton, Irving, Farmers Branch, Highland Park, they all co-sponsored or wrote a letter to Governor Abbott asking to revive HB 3187. It's nothing to panic about. Governor Abbott probably doesn't care about regional issues, and he has so much stuff on his special session agenda that he does not want to disrupt that at all. This is just a way for them to continue pressuring, to negotiate with DART and try to get some kind of resolution, or just kind of sowing the seeds for next session. Actually, I was supposed to update this slide on how many bills are filed, because on Thursday, 150? On Thursday was 126 or something, so they only filed 24 more yesterday. There is an HSR state funding bill. This bill's intent, if it's the same as the regular session, it's more to allow TxDOT employees to burn their own hours to coordinate with a privately owned high-speed rail entity. And that bill failed, and he's just putting it in. It's probably not going to go anywhere, but you never, I mean, if you don't try, you'll never get a yes. So I have special interest on the bill that bans publicly funded lobbying. There were like multiples of this bill filed. Yes, Plano uses publicly funded lobbying to work against DART, but also DART uses publicly funded lobbyists to advocate for themselves. And cities use publicly funded lobbyists to advocate for their own interests beyond kill DART. It's a local control issue, and the state is trying to ruin that. Because basically, there are people that think that these city-funded public lobbyists are the ones stopping them from getting a 0% property tax. So, special session starts on Monday, and it'll end after 30 days. Oh. So there was a committee of the whole meeting. A lot of us were there to speak publicly, but I saw that nobody really, I mean, it starts at like 2 p.m., so people can't really attend to watch that. And there was actually, they kick-started their budget procedure for fiscal year 2026. The big thing that there was an increase in the operating budget, and that created a deficit. A large part of it was the silver line, because they are projected to start revenue service about 3 months ahead of time. So that created sort of a budget gap. Everything's more expensive. I mean, we've all experienced it over the past 4 years. They did make some administrative cuts, but there's still a budget deficit. Combined with the reduction in the operating budget because of the 5% GMP resolution, so that totals up to 35 million versus the budget target. Now the budget target is the maximum they're shooting for their budget increase. I think that's 3.8% year over year. For reference, the cities have a budget increase cap of 3.5% year over year. That's state mandated. August 1st, they're going to have a DART board workshop to see what they can do to meet the budget goal. And I don't think this is an open meeting. This is them just getting together and hashing things out on what to do. See if there's administrative cuts, capital budget cuts, or even service cuts. So they're going to hash it out. Some key bits of information: LRV purchases those are reduced from 95 units to 77. They've already made some cuts to the capital program by about $70 million. Currently, what they're looking at is using funding the 5% GMP with the capital dollars and the MAF. That's kind of like their rainy day fund. It used to be like an innovation fund, but they realized they're not using it for innovation or anything like that. So it's more of a rainy day fund. And they have I forget, they have like $30 million in it or something like that.
25.
Yeah, 25, yeah. So that's for the next 2 years to fund the GMP. But beyond that, after they implement Transit 2.0, after they update the cost allocation methodology that includes Silver Line costs, so that'll change the formula regarding how much they're going to give back to the cities, right? They're going to make a budget that funds this GMP into perpetuity. Right now, the target dollars for the service cuts is $25 million. But this is the vibe I got from the comments from the board, including Ricciardelli, where basically they're treating the paratransit cuts as a third rail. So I suspect they will keep funding full paratransit service because nobody wants that kind of heat. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and they're really feeling the pressure. The board is, at least Gary Slagle is, they're really feeling the pressure that this is gonna come to a head where if they keep going with the 1 cent tax, it's, the cities are gonna start revolting. And they're looking into ways to see if the state could help out with DART funding, say through TxDOT or any other means. And I'll go further into what the RTC has about that. What's that?
So is that 25 million for service cuts over 2 years, or would it be? Is that 25 million figure for service cuts? Is that over 2 years, or is that $25 per year?
That's fiscal year 26, so it's per year.
That's bad.
And if you have time, go look at the committee of the whole meeting video for July 8th. Around the 1 hour mark, Chairman Slagle lays out exactly how it all started, starting from the 87th legislative session, so 2023, how this entire saga has unfolded. So I thought he gave a good 30-minute story on how this is, how it happened and how it went. So on to the RTC. This is the Regional Transportation Council, which is part of the COG, the North Central Texas Council of Governments. For those that don't know, this is the organization that basically takes federal transit dollars and distributes it to municipalities for various functions like, basically streets and roads and stuff like that, and some transit. So Michael Morris, the Director of Transportation, he put out a proposed policy resolution to vote on, which was basically, hey, we can't keep fighting amongst all these cities. We need to all come together and have a unified message to go to the legislature on some and help them draft a bill or something for a transit solution for the region, and maybe have something to provide additional funding from the state, right? And that process that he proposed was like workshops all throughout the region that includes legislators, includes city governments, includes citizens, everybody, and the transit agencies, DCTA, DART, and Trinity Metro, to just try to figure out exactly what our common goal is and what we want as a region. But this will cost $1 million to hire consultants, data crunchers, staff time, all that stuff. And combined with because of that $1 million price tag after they spent a couple $1 million doing Transit 2.0 studies, people really turned against that. I can understand why. And feels like, and also non-member cities said, hey, this seems more like you're trying to protect DART. We're not in a DART member city. We're not a DART member city. Why are we even like trying to get this, spend more money to try to protect DART? So the vote failed. So it's still going to be kind of an ad hoc kind of situation, but also they talked about creating committees and subcommittees within the Regional Transportation Council to move a path forward instead of spending all that money to get everyone in and doing these workshops and studies. So that means we have a lot to talk about with our own city governments. And Tyler will go into that later because we kind of want to steer these city councils and municipalities into being more transit friendly because the workshop would have been a good way to voice our opinion, but the workshops are not happening. So now it's up to us to affect the council governments in whichever way to be able to come to some kind of resolution and prevent the fight in 2 years, hopefully. So next meeting is in the Irving Convention Center. There's a North Texas Infrastructure Summit, I think that's what it's called, in August 6th and 7th, and they're using that opportunity to have their RTC meeting. And I suspect it's still gonna be at 2 p.m. I haven't checked. Okay, it's on the calendar. It's transit accessible. So if you can make it, you can make it just like a city council meeting. You can go and make a public comment to the entire RTC. That's 45 representatives of counties, cities, transit agencies, whatever. So. So this was part of the resolution, which failed, but I thought it was interesting. Michael Morris actually provided some funding solutions that could be asked from the state government. The first one is making an argument to TxDOT, basically saying, hey, if there's this study says if there's densification around rail stations, it'll reduce congestion by 10 to 20%. Do you want to, so TxDOT or state government, do you want to spend tens of billions of dollars creating more lanes, more roads, or do you want to give us maybe $1 billion to densify around rail stations? The second one was the amount we pay in taxes in the region does not correlate with the population percentage that we have in the region in Texas. So, the chart I saw was basically we pay 29 point something percent of total sales tax revenue for Texas, but we have 27% of the population. So considering what Plano did in their argument, saying that, hey, we pay this much in your taxes, but we only get this much back, right? There's a difference. We say, hey, how about we get some of that difference back from the state government to fund transit? I don't know, maybe that's an argument worth having. I don't know how convincing it'll be. Politically viable, yeah. But it's an avenue. There's also Texas mobility funds, see if we can apply to use that to fund transportation projects that help public transit. For example, the bridge that Silver Line goes to the airport, that bridge was built using this Texas Mobility Fund. And another one is the Texas Water Ferry, which is funded by TxDOT, right? Maybe we can argue that it's like the water ferry and get funding from TxDOT. Yeah, land ferry, basically, for the regional passenger rail. It's connecting these different municipalities. It's kind of like a ferry. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the two water ferry systems, that's TxDOT. And there was he talked about this police and fire freeway response reimbursement. I wasn't quite sure what this fund is. What's that? Yes, go ahead.
So the argument with that is that they have to, municipalities have to pay a higher rate for emergency responders when they respond on highways. And they're arguing that if they reduce traffic congestion and reduce the amount of accidents they respond to on the highways, they'll save municipalities money on paying a higher rate for their first responders.
I think Michael Morris's argument was actually that the cities provide emergency response services to the TxDOT highway system, and that TxDOT should reimburse the cities for providing that service rather than they having to build out a service that responds to major accidents on the highways. I think in Harris County, I think the Harris County Tollway Authority, HECTRA, reimburses the cities in that area for emergency response on their toll roads. So kind of the same thing.
Okay, I didn't have much background on that, so. Oh, and that's the table showing the difference in tax. So Michael Morris, I'm not quite sure about his math here, but he says there's a potential $600 million a year gap in terms of sales tax paid and whatever. You can play with these numbers however you want to get the maximum amount of sales tax gap. And yeah, that's it for me. I guess. Yep. Thank you.
Okay, I guess I'll go cover Rahan's report. He is not present today. So I think these are old slides. Oh, these are even old slides. So nothing. All right. Basically, I think if you are wanting to help with social media, you have some pithy statements, some fun little tweets, some ideas for posts, send them over. Good meme. We need memes. I've got one coming in hot that I'm really proud of that I think we can start doing. But definitely just help Rohan where you can. And do we need to call a special election when he goes to school or just wait till the general? Yeah. So since he's going to school in UT Austin, he probably won't be able to fulfill chair. That'll be about a month before general election. So what we're probably going to do is appoint somebody and get that approved by a hand vote at the next meeting, just so we have coverage until the next election. Any questions? We are going to miss Rohan. If you're listening, man, we're going to miss you. Right. Okay, Kui.
So my stuff is also pretty short here. So last week we had a pretty fun event. We went 115 or more miles across the entire system. It was a lot. I was tired when I got back home. So with that being said, there is some leftover merchandise from DART and Trinity Metro that is in the back of the room. You can get it at the end of the meeting. Please do not run and grab it right now. Yeah, but do not run and grab it right now because the last time this happened, we did not have fun with this. But yeah, we got some goodie bags. It was pretty fun. Some key takeaways that we had was probably we really want that silver line. Those flirts were nice. And so I did talk about this earlier, but we're doing jet lag. It's hide and seek. I kind of explained it earlier. Let me see if I have some. And I will show you guys kind of what it is. So this is the game map. You can hide anywhere in the half-mile radius of these green dots. And that's where, yeah. And other than these two, you can't hide at a TRE station. Just because it's difficult.
You guys really want to go to Irving anyways? Come on.
downtown Irving's easier to get to than Fort Lauderdale.
Okay. Anyways, yes. So that is kind of the main gist, and I kind of made a rule set as well because who doesn't love rules? But yeah, I'll distribute these rules eventually. I just want to know the interest. How many people are interested on doing this? Because the date is August. Oh my goodness.
I didn't see. Yeah.
So this might mean we have to do teams, and you're going to be camped out at whatever station you are for half an hour, or actually more than a few hours, because the play testing I did with Colin took about 3 hours to find Colin. He was sitting in some kind of park in Lancaster, not Lancaster, in I forgot where it was. No, it wasn't even Glen Heights. We're not doing Glen Heights. There's no way we're gonna go.
Can we just like increase the number of seekers to like make it shorter?
We could.
Yeah.
We could just make like 6 teams hounding to find you.
And then we could also balance it by adding more hiding spots. I think there's more potential for that.
Rail stations is easier because rail stations have the
What?
frequency. We don't want to make it too hard, Connor.
Bus stations have, like 20 bucks.
Connor, I don't want to spend 6 hours trying to find you at Addison Transit Center, okay? I still don't want to spend 6 hours trying to find Connor and Addison. Or Lake Ray Hubbard. You know what? That's another good one.
That was gonna be my spot.
Down at the line and crown before you get found. Don't find me before I get too close.
Yeah, but the general rules is, one person uses public transportation to get a hiding spot, and then you work together by asking questions. You can't be more than half a mile from a station. That just makes it so that, you can't run very far away. It's still hard, by the way, even within a half-mile radius. Because if you look at some half-mile radius of some stations, they're pretty built out, which means you can hide at pretty nice places. I'm not revealing some of the hiding places, but some of the places are very hard to find. Like in the playtest, it took me probably 4 hours to find Colin. So no. So once you pick your station, that is your station that you hide in. And you have half an hour from 9:30 on Saturday, which is conveniently planned for a very specific reason. It's impossible to make it there in half an hour anyways. Yes, you have to make it in half an hour. Anyways, yeah, so you have to be half a mile within a light rail station. You can use any DART transit to get to your hiding spot. You just have to do it within half an hour, other than GoLink. We don't want to use GoLink. But yeah, that's just the gist. We'll share the rules as we get closer in.
When does the 30 minutes start?
9:30 a.m.
So we can get there like 8.
Well, everyone starts at 9:30, and then you have the half hour to go to your hiding spot. The seekers are encouraged not to look at the station to see what train they get on to deduce where they might have gone, because we think someone might be trying that. But I think it'll be pretty fun. It looks like there's a lot of interest. Unfortunately, I'll be in Seattle at the time, so I'm just gonna leave this with Connor or someone that I trust to bring it on the 9th. But it'll be pretty fun. The rule books is in there, dice is in there, the cards are in there, everything's in there for you. I think it'll be super fun. Okay, where's my mouse? Where is the meeting? Okay, we're back to the vice president.
Okay, let's get into some brass tacks. All right, so last time I talked about this, but you really need to talk to your city council about this GMP. Here's how you can do it. You can email them. We've got a contact list. I have a QR code at my end of my slides that you guys can scan. has a list of all current city council members, so you can just copy paste it. There will be an action network coming this week. We've tried to commit to that at exec for all 13 member cities in Dart. So you can share that with your friends or other riders or neighbors, etc. So be on the lookout for that. And if anybody needs like a personal heads up because you don't follow our socials or can't follow our socials, come see me after the meeting. You can also call them. So you can actually call the city secretary ahead of a council meeting, or there might be a council specific secretary. But if it's on the council websites for each city, and you can submit a comment that will be added to the public record. They either have to say, hey, you got a comment, or it has to be read aloud in the meeting. Your mileage may vary there. So if you can't make it to a meeting and you don't think an email will work, you can give them a call and they will record it. Visit them at their houses in the dead of night. No, don't do that. Don't do that. We're not there yet. So look up your city council schedule. A lot of them are on Tuesdays, twice a month usually, and sign up for a public comment. This can be about anything. Legally, they have to give you about 2 to 3 minutes if there's not an overwhelming amount. And you can talk about Dart. You might even get longer if there's a public hearing about Dart on the agenda. This is a good way to raise attention. I'm thinking about going to Addison's on Tuesday and being a little angry. So we'll see. We'll see how well I slept that day and how angry I am. And then another thing is meet with them one-on-one. Some of you may already know some of your counselors. This can be done, especially if you have a relationship with a council member already. But those relationships start by doing any and all of the above. If you're shy and you need tips, ping me, come talk to me after the meeting. We'll figure it out. Any questions? Well, yeah, we're going to end pretty early, so we'll have plenty of time to hash this out if anybody has any questions. Okay, so I came up with some questions over the past couple days, arguments to make or questions to ask your council member based on 4 categories. So if your city council supported DART and is getting GMP funds, that's a good handful. I think Addison, Richardson are aware. So ask them if they're aware. A lot of times they're not following this very closely. Are you aware of the service cuts in our city required to pay for the relatively small amount you will be getting? Does the council or the staff have a plan for how they can use these funds to support active transportation or mobility? Are there new TODs or new developments that are now at risk of losing value because of service cuts? Addison's got a really big TOD that's going to be maybe met by a 1-hour silver line. That's insane. The council member I've talked to about it does not like that. And so you can use that because they were betting on the silver line. Also mention how these cuts affect you and why that's bad. And then ask them if they can pass a resolution or outright reject the GMP money to help save DART services. You know, you're balancing what do you get locally that you weren't already going for. Maybe your council could use the money to increase bike infrastructure or something from the GMP. That is a good thing, but is it better than regional transportation maintaining service? You need to pose that question to them and ask them to reject the money, especially if they're thinking, oh, these data guys got a point, because we do. If your city council supported DART and is not getting GMP funds, your argument gets automatically stronger. Why are we using our city's money to subsidize other cities, even those that just tried to dismantle the entire system? How is that fair? Do you believe DART should provide funding to these cities or focus on better service? Should they provide service? They're a transportation organization, not a bank. So, and again, personal stories here are good. So I think these are cities like Garland, Dallas. I've got a slide on Dallas, but let them know what's going on. A lot of times they don't know, and I even talked to the Addison city manager and kind of filled him on a couple things, and he's a really smart guy. So he's got a lot to manage. These cities got a lot going on. Bring this up with them. Questions? Any other supporting arguments? Exactly. Yeah, you can definitely speak to it that way. So saying something like, hey, this is DART's money. It's supposed to go to the transit. This is a voter approved thing. All good arguments. It is, I mean, it's, if you buy stuff, it is technically your money. Ken. Correct. It would only go to cities in the first couple years that were identified as having inequities by the EY methodology. So I believe that's Plano, Addison, Richardson, Carrollton, not Irving, the Park Cities, Farmers Branch, and the Park Cities. So yeah, so that would be most of the cities that tried to kill DART would have the inequities. And then Addison is, I think, the lone friendly one. Richardson, but they didn't have an inequity. Oh, they did have an inequity. Oh, yeah. Yeah. So Richardson and Addison have smaller ones, but would still get a bit of money. They gave more in their public or their sales tax revenue than they got back in service costs by the EY, allegedly by the EY. Remember, this EY methodology doesn't include the silver line, all that sort of stuff. So it's sus, but that's what they're using. Con? Correct. That's another thing to say. It's like Dallas carried this whole thing on their backs until like before COVID. Like I think that's worth saying as well. Sean? Exactly. So Addison has one of the busiest bus centers in, I go back to Addison because that's what I know, is one of the busiest bus centers outside of downtown that are getting hourly buses, or, formerly 15-minute, 20-minute routes are going to become 20, 30, 40-minute routes just so they can get like $2 million over the next 2 years. But hold on, Ken, we got another question. I'll get back to you. Yes, sir. Yep. That's the great irony of all of this. That too. Exactly. I think we can do that whenever we want. You guys are free. You guys are free to say that. So we've got to be, we've got to be, talking. You've got to kind of ramp up to that, right? If you're building a new relationship with a council member, being able to kind of speak around like what cui bono, who benefits, what's going on here. From the city council perspective, they have a good reason to. Hey, that is a little bit distracting. Feel free to talk. Just do it outside. It's all good. But this does distract me. Okay. So like a city councilor who's getting some money and wants to improve bike trails in their city, they're not evil for thinking they could use that, right? But you have to tell them like what is the cost? That's the thing we're going for. And then you can ramp up as you get more friendly, or if they're receptive and say, look at what Plano's trying to do to you guys. All valid arguments, but these are just some good starting points. Okay, a couple more categories. If your city tried to defund DART and is getting GMP funds, okay, we know who they are. What are your plans to cover gaps in service in your town that are required to fund your equity adjustment? How are you going to cover paratransit? How are you going to cover routes that were eliminated for GoLink? Is really getting an equity adjustment more important than ensuring paratransit remains viable? Trap them. Tell them that. Are disabled people less important than your tax money? Hit them. Go for it. Is the city council willing to pass a resolution if they accept this money supporting DART in the next legislative session? Now, are they willing to sign an ILA? Trap them there. If you're going to take this money, you better be fans of DART, because they took tax money in 2022. Plano got quite a bit because they got surplus funding due to some of the COVID legislation that passes. You don't hear about that, but they got millions of dollars back from DART. But they still think there's inequity. So just remember that. And finally, if your city council tried to defund DART and is not getting GMP funds, why are you stupid? Like, seriously, why? Please stop. Rick Stouffer, stop. Irving, yeah. Con? Yep.
He said he spent $35,000 hiring people to light buses. He's pissed off.
What?
Yeah.
How did he do that? How is that how's that legal? Yeah.
So when I was looking at an Irving, I was watching an Irving City Council meeting because I'm a masochist. Rick Stouffer actually had hired people and spent tens of thousands of dollars to have people ride the DART buses to see what the utilization is, and he used that as saying like, no more than 20 people are riding the bus at a time, or something like that. We get service, but this is not the service that we want.
Yeah, 20.
Yeah, still. I mean, that's the argument that they'll use. Yes, we are getting service. Yes, they're spending money here, but they're mismanaging that service, so they're not getting the service that we want, which I suspect he wants door-to-door service like an Uber. I think that's what everyone dreams of, their own private shuttle.
Yep. They have a lot of GoLink, exactly.
Yeah, but they don't talk about that,
Yeah.
do they?
They got Orange Line, all that sort of stuff. Yeah, in just a sec. Go ahead, Sean.
So, in previous, not the previous one, but before the July 8 board meeting, there was a board meeting where Joe Kerbaik and Rick Stouffer wanted to talk to me behind the horseshoe, and basically, in a nutshell, what he said is his plan was to replace DART with via on demand. And I'm sure as we've seen by folks in Arlington, it's not good.
No, it's not. GoLink is like the only microtransit that sort of works.
DCTA is the best
Yeah.
transit
Okay.
service, remember?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. We're going to take Hyacinth and then we're going to move to the next section.
As an Irving resident who's interested in talking to my representatives, do you have some suggestions for more productive ways to express those sentiments at the bottom?
I think at the top is like, don't actually do this. All right. But it's important for them to understand that they get nothing for this. Irving was going to lose, they had a $20 million hole of service they got versus tax money they gave, but they still tried to kill DART. They're definitely a vibes-based council. And so hit them with like, well, DART can just like fix your service, right? Like if you want a little bit more buses that go a little bit different, or you want some GoLink lanes massaged, they can do that, right? If you had to hire people, why didn't they just ride the bus and talk to people in Irving? Like, I don't understand. Like, being city council is uncomfortable because you have to talk to the public, but like that's what you're elected to do, dog. Like, so ask them like, hey, like what other outreach efforts can you do? How can we cover other things? That kind of thing. Connor, you got something?
I would say Irving just doesn't benefit from this. That's plain and simple. Is you're taking investment out of the city and putting it into Plano. That's it. They don't get anything, and they seem to be really they seem to love the idea of replacing buses with Uber. It's not cost effective. Irving Stoker's own experiment revealed like 20 people would be riding a bus at once. Think about how many buses or how many people that bus route is carrying in an hour. Like 20 people are occupying seats at once, but there's people getting on and off at all the stops. An Uber driver is going to be lucky to carry like 3 people in an hour.
Yep. It's
You take away these buses, you push all those passengers onto that on-demand system. It's not going to work. Yeah.
Exactly.
One route in Irving, I think they're at 231, not even their highest ridership route, carries like 800 people. All of Via Grand Prairie carried like 400 per day, but one bus route's doing 800. I don't know.
No clue. Okay. It ain't it.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get into my last little note here. If you live in Dallas, know that you don't listen to the suburbs. Your city council and DART board members have the most control over this situation because they give the most money, time, effort, period. Remember, we've got 8 Dallas board members for a 15-member body for a good reason. Make no mistake, these suburbs ain't shit. All right, I want that to clip that. Go ahead, Shelby. Yeah, if the Dallas Council were to pass a resolution condemning the GMP and service cuts, the DART board would almost certainly be able to override a lot of votes, right? This gives a lot of leverage. So if you live in Dallas, you still matter. In fact, you probably matter more. Contact your city councilor. If you live in Dallas, encourage friends and family to do the same. Get them talking about this because Dallas stands to lose a lot from these service cuts when they give a lot. Okay, question. What can we do, Connor?
So there's a couple things. If there's a Frisco representative on the RTC, you can tell them because the RTC is making decisions that are not helping. I'll put it that way. The other thing is your state representatives. You can give them calls and you can, because this has a high chance of coming up in the state on the state level again, like it did earlier, if you're aware. So that's what I would say to that. Oh yeah.
Yeah, Red Line, Frisco.
No, yeah, but they drive to the
Yeah, you
Parker
drive
Road.
in. Yeah. So I mean, you could leave flyers on like north side of transit stations, like Northwest Plano Park and Ride or something like that, where you get people from outside the service area driving in. That's something you can do to spread awareness. But as far as not being a DART member city, your options are just more limited. So
But there's still a lot you can do.
there's still a lot you can do. Okay, everyone got this QR code? This is my last bit. Adrian? Oh, did she lose? Oh, okay. Thanks.
Well, whoever replaces her on the RTC is Frisco's rep.
Yep.
That's who you need to talk to.
That's who you need to talk to. And I've got somebody else you can maybe talk to in Frisco after. I know him from Addison, so I'll talk to you after. Okay, Connor's turn.
Hang on. We're actually gonna delay Connors for like 10 minutes. Is that okay?
What for?
We're gonna do the better block one because Krista has to do it.
I'm sure. Yeah. No, you're good. You're good.
All right.
All right. So, hi, I'm Patrick. I'm our parliamentarian. Xander's out today, so I'm filling in for Xander. We skipped the very first thing on the agenda, and we did not approve the minutes from the last meeting. They were on the meeting notice, which you should have had a link to when you signed in. If there are no amendments to the minutes, if there are no objections to approving the minutes are approved.
I second.
All in favor?
Hey. I'm
Okay.
kidding.
So, we have someone from Better Block here today. So there's been a lot of demand for the t-shirts. The Nadine Lee posted on LinkedIn last month about wearing her data shirt, and there are a lot of comments from, there's like a mayor in there, Carmen wants one on the board. So to try and fulfill this demand, we're gonna set up the t-shirt design on Bonfire, which is a print-on-demand provider, and they let you donate the proceeds to a 501c3, which Better Block is. Kui, do you want to?
So I have Krista here to answer any questions if there are any. But are there any questions about this? Yes, Connor.
What would this money work, these sales that Better Block would be receiving, what would it go to?
That's great. That's the next slide. It goes to their community bus bench project, which is used to place benches where there aren't currently any benches, like this current bench that is made by someone in here that is on their phone right now. We talk about your bench.
You made that bench?
So Hexo there's a few in here that have been part of this bench project. Hexel, I think Becca has made a bench too. It's on the cable. So it's basically just, I think the term is guerrilla advocacy, tactical urbanism. So basically we put benches where benches are needed. So any other questions? Yes.
How many people in this room are willing to pay maybe more money for a t-shirt knowing that it's creating bus benches?
Oh, okay, nice.
Take
Yes, that's Krista right there, I believe.
Okay, thank you. And sorry, I pushed your portion back. Okay, so these benches are part of something called Wikiblock, which is our online library of street furniture designs. Anyone anywhere can download these designs free. You can go ahead and go get them cut out at a makerspace if you want to, and you can place them out at bus stops. With these funds, what we'll do is just kind of pile them. And when we have enough to do a few benches, we'll let y'all know. We'll cut some of these out. We'll have you over at the office, or we'll come to one of your meetings and you can paint them, and then we'll go place them wherever you tell us to place them. So it's a really fun way to just kind of instantly create some seating. We're trying to figure out a way to do some shade too, that doesn't make it too much more expensive, but that one's been a little tricky. So right now we're focused on seating.
So some of these bus stops are in front of private residences or private, I guess, companies or whatever. Do you guys have an agreement with them, or do you just put them and they don't do anything about it?
I'll be honest, we've just been putting these out there. So we have put no owner, our first round, we put no ownership to them. I think we put out 9 benches about a year and a half ago. I want to say 7 of them have found new homes, but the others still exist. And this round, the second round that we've done, I think most of them are still there. And we labeled them the community bus bench. So we're kind of testing out if we put a little ownership and say, hey, these are yours, will they stay a little bit longer? And I think a lot of them have stuck around. So far, no one has said anything. No one has made us remove them. We say they're temporary or reversible, but no one's had issues with them. So we've just been putting them out there. The only thing, maybe they may disappear, but we've seen community members go out and actually like tie them to the bus bench so that they don't walk away.
How much money does it cost to get one bus bench?
Great question. It's about $275, and that would include all the materials, the time, and the paint as well.
Any more questions?
So for shade, more of a long-term thing. What would it cost? What would it take to get some saplings planted next to these things?
Yeah, do them in a protected species so they can't.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, technically, there's a whole permit you're supposed to get to plant some trees. Have we gone out and just put some down anyway? Yes. Yeah, so that's, you know, that is a process that probably would require a bit more to actually go through and do. This is pretty low level. I don't think anyone's going to get mad at us for doing this. But we are thinking through, like, is there a awning we can build, or can you do like umbrellas of some sort? Just got to be careful of wind and stuff going into the street. So that's the other part. We're workshopping it. So if y'all have ideas, let us know.
I think I saw someone put like a bike lock around one once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's been out there.
Not to be a Debbie Downer, but what are the legal implications if someone hurts themselves on these benches?
I mean, technically it's like abandoned, so.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, no one owns it. So I don't know. But if that is a concern, you don't have to do it. So, you know, whatever y'all want to on that.
If we have bus stops that we know specifically get a lot of use that don't have any amenities, should we send them to you?
It's a community bus bench. Are you going to sue the entire community? Yeah. Are we ready to move on? Or? Oh, you have a question?
Do y'all have community bus benches that have shade, like some of the yeah.
We're working on it. We do have a couple designs that include shade, but I don't feel comfortable enough for liability reasons to put those out there like that. So we're still working on a good solution that would be safe enough for everyone. So still workshopping that. If I may really quickly, I've heard some things about Irving today. We are actually doing a project in downtown Irving on October 10th and 11th, and it is right by the stop right there. So if you've got thoughts on Irving, if you want to, show support, definitely come out. There's some really good people doing some really good stuff there. So I just want to throw that out there.
Thank you.
We do have a resolution to approve for this. There it is. It was on the meeting notice. If
Since the time sensitive part is covered, we can do the resolution.
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's monitor that.
This stand feels a little tall for me. Okay. All right. So I think Khan had the bulk of the news because he's been really on it. But besides all the depressing RTC stuff, on July 8th is probably DART's biggest public meeting ever. Nearly 200 people showed up to speak against service cuts. There are so many people there. There are overflow rooms for the overflow rooms. So yeah, can everyone who went stand up if you're able to make it? That's almost everyone. Wow. Almost everyone should. Good. Also, I want to ask, is there anyone who doesn't know what the GMP is? It's okay if you don't. You don't? The general, okay, for the general mobility program, it's DART taking 5% of their funding and redistributing it to certain cities based on some eligibility. Not all cities are eligible. It's kind of based on if they feel their service level doesn't match their contribution. And this is in response to the legislation that would have cut DART's budget by 25%. DART's trying to stave it off by offering 5% of their budget. But as we stated many times, we are opposed to service cuts. And we don't want to see, we would like to see a negative, or we would like to see growth to DART's budget, if anything. But the situation we're in is a little tough. But there's nonprofits such as like My Opportunities and the Brain Injury Network there too. Not just data, and lots of individuals, lots of people speaking against paratransit and frequency cuts. We're going to get to that. So the impact, I think, was overwhelmingly positive for us. I think post this meeting, almost every article that's mentioned DART will say something like, DART, it has to mull over these service cuts. And then they will always say now, which are really unpopular. That wasn't really said before, the unpopularity of this, but now that we've had a meeting with 200 people opposing it, almost no city, local level engagement gets 200 people or like anywhere near it. Like if you get 20 people to show up, that's a lot. If you get as many people in this room to show up, that's a lot. So to get nearly 200, it's totally shifted the narrative in the media, which is good. There's also a lot of important people watching too, and I think there's a key lesson here, and that's that there's a lot of eyes on us now, and on DART. State Senator Royce West actually left a public comment. Representatives Mihaela Plesa and Tony Rose had staffers present when watching, and there's probably more people we don't even know. Dallas City Council's or watching. All but one board member was there and present. It was Mark Enoch who couldn't make it, but 13 out of 4 or 14 out of 15, pretty good. Oh yeah, if that's a good point, though. Thanking if Royce West is your senator, you can thank him for leaving a public comment, and that kind of helps reinforce his support for public transit. Getting that positive feedback from his constituents, kind of like how we give negative feedback when people do something wrong. We're like, hey, don't do that. I guess we can call that negative, but yeah, and the media was watching this very closely. So I think this is all to say, when you go and you leave a public comment about DART, there's so many more ears listening into that than there used to be. So something to keep in mind. As Khan mentioned, they're not really giving up, because for the special session that starts on Monday, on June 25th, our problem cities, our problem mayors, all sent a letter to Governor Abbott asking him to add transit authority reform to the special session. Seeing how that happened on June 25th, and it is now, I don't know, about a month from then, and the special session starts in 2 days, and he hasn't mentioned adding that to the agenda, I think we're good. And I don't think Governor Abbott wants to put a regional issue on a special session agenda. Special sessions are short, and he's jam-packed it, as Khan said, so. I think there's an important takeaway here, though, and that's that these cities are just not giving up. And that's a problem for us. But I think it also means that, giving them money may not necessarily fix this issue unless we do it very smartly. But I'm not for $20 million of service cuts, to be clear, to make it happen. So I guess that's everything I had. So we're going to bring it to Xander or Patrick, who's filling in for Xander.
Yeah, I think, this is we're back to the better block stuff again. So this is the resolution. I know you can't read that here. But if you go to the data website, ridewithdata.org, and click on the meeting notice, you can read it there. It just says, hey, we're establishing a partnership with Better Block. They can use the funds to do public transit related projects. And that will get they'll tell us how much they got and what they use it for. Is there any discussion for or against the resolution or any changes, minutes? Yes. So the very last paragraph lets the executive committee terminate the agreement. That's just so that when we incorporate, we can just do it. Yeah, we're still planning on that. Exec is kind of putting together a retreat where we're gonna brainstorm and stuff in August to try to figure out how to incorporate and how we want to fund stuff, the products we want to fund, stuff like that.
So just to be clear, that's a plan. The plans will probably be up for a vote of the body after the next officer election.
Yes, yeah. So that exec is just going to put some plans together. Anything we actually decide actually want to do, we're going to bring before the whole membership to vote on, just so we're clear. So if there's no comments or amendments to the resolution, the chair will accept a motion to approve. Motion moved by Warren. Is there a second? I think, okay, there's a second. All in favor, say aye. All opposed? The motion passes. And the resolution is adopted. Thank you.
You can now buy data shirts, finally, at will. In like a few hours, once I enable it. In a few hours. But yes.
And then there's this week with driving thing that I know very little about.
Okay. So we were approached by Dallas Urbanists, Dallas Bike Coalition, and Better Block to participate in Week Without Driving. So I'd like to invite Hexel because he knows a lot more about this than me. And I've only been in like 2 planning meetings, and Hexel's been like the ringleader at this because he has a lot of plans, apparently. Like a lot. Like a lot.
Hello. I have plans, like a lot. Thank you, Kui. So just show of hands, who is familiar with Week Without Driving? Oh, wow. So it's just you. Okay. Who's done it before? Okay, so that's more like, okay, that's more reasonable. Third. So for those of you who have never done it before, it's basically what it sounds like. It's you take a week to challenge yourself to a week without driving. And I know this crowd is already a pretty car light. You know, most of you took transit to get here. So really this challenge should be easy. But it started nationally, I want to say 2 years ago. And the idea was to really influence elected leaders, officials to experience what the city was like for people for whom driving was not an option. And so it was an empathy building exercise. And this year, still an empathy building exercise, but also wanted to kind of use it as an opportunity to empower, our neighbors and our friends and ourselves to see the city through a new lens if we were not doing it already. Also to highlight and bring awareness to really our neighbors and friends and maybe even those among us who are again already living this way, and both the advantages and noble things about it, as well as the disadvantages and things that we as a city and as a region need to be working on to improve. So what does this involve? Well, at some point we'll have a local webpage for people to sign up, but even if you were like just gung-ho and ready to get started as an individual, then you can go to weekwithoutdriving.org to sign up. What are we planning? What are all these plans? Well, a major focal point this year is that we really want to empower people to have a really successful week without driving. And so one of the biggest points of feedback that I've gotten is that if you've never done a week without driving before, you actually kind of have to learn how to do it. Kind of like you have to learn how to drive. And there's a lot of people who've never used a bus before, don't know what the trails are, and really have never even exercised or practiced like planning or scheduling their commutes. So part of the lead up to the week itself, which starts on September 29th, we're going to have a advent of Week Without Driving. So 24 days of tips, daily tips, starting on September, whatever is the 29th minus 24, so the 5th. In order to produce a lot of guidance material, we're also going to need to do a lot of filming and a lot of editing and a lot of content creation. So, so there's 2 things that you can mark your calendars on right away. Number 1, we want to get as many tips, tricks, and ideas received by July 31st, by the end of this month. And where are you going to submit those? Well, we have a new Dallas Urbanist subreddit. And so if any ideas you have, or maybe you have 24 ideas ready to go onto the Reddit, post your ideas there. And then at the end of the month, we'll collect all of the ideas that people have posted. And so this, as you can see, this is also a way to gin up activity on that particular subreddit, build that community. Also, on August 16th, which is a Saturday, we'll have a film day. So I'm about to either this afternoon, just before the mixer, or probably after. I'll get it officially up on the meetup page. On August 16th, we'll have a film day. So anyone who wants to help, like, go out to the stations and kind of film some of these ideas and tips that we want to publish. We'll meet at Mockingbird Station, and I chose Mockingbird Station because that's got like the nicest collection of things to demonstrate because it's got GoLink and train and bus and all that good stuff. So those are the two things to get started on right away. And then the last thing is we are at part of the content calendar that I've prepared is that we do want to do at least 3 long form videos that highlight one person's journey who's already been doing Week Without Driving, because you already don't operate without a car. We also want to highlight someone who's car light. So maybe you park right to a station and then you drive to a station and then take it to work. We want to highlight someone who's car light, who takes a challenge to go fully without. And then we want to highlight someone who's like doing the full cold turkey. Like you weren't car light at all, and you're just kind of going for it. So we want to highlight those 3 perspectives. And so if you want to be one of those people who want to do a more long form follow along story, then please reach out and we'll consider you. Any questions? All right, cool. Well, I'll also talk about it more at the mixer. So if you guys come down to that, then I'll have more information for y'all. Thanks.
Thanks, Hexel. So that leads into the next part. Where is my files? Oh, I closed it. Anyways, we have a resolution as well. This was also in the packet that formally recognizes that Dallas Area Transit Alliance, will participate in Week Without Driving with Better Block, Dallas Urbanists, and Dallas Bike Coalition. So I'll leave Patrick to do the procedural part.
Okay, does anyone want to speak for or against the resolution? Seeing none, is there a motion to approve the resolution 25.02 as presented? Moved by Ken, is there a second? All in favor say aye. All opposed? The motion passes and the resolution is adopted.
So we don't have to do that for every risk going forward. Like clapping on the plane land. We're gonna have a lot of them.
Okay, wait. Oh, we're over? We finished an hour early.
No, we did not. No, we're not done.
We're not- Oh, wait, no. Hang on, I'm so sorry. That's right.
No, we didn't. You're missing the discussion. Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
So my bad. This one's on me.
We didn't have a slide for this. That's why. Oops. We'll just put the first slide back up anyways.
Okay. So before we close today, I've talked a bit about the future of data. I've been too busy and I've been playing a lot of Halo, so I haven't really gotten too big into that one. So what we're going to do to kind of get that conversation started is Connor and I agreed that we need some time to just have a casual chat. We've got half an hour left. Maybe we'll take the next 15, 20 minutes and just kind of share some ideas. So I'll start, and then Connor can go after me. One of my ideas I've been trying to do, besides getting block walkers to vote council members out like I described, is we need some more South Dallas leadership. Exactly, especially in period and in data. So my mission, I think if I'm reelected to VP, is I want to get somebody in, mentor them, and kind of like have some leadership ready to go to serve on data's board. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I've been practicing French, but yeah, Spanish speaker is good as well. So those are a couple of my ideas. Yeah.
So,
Let's watch how the calling out. Please raise your hand so we can.
Yeah.
Everybody gets a chance to speak.
And, before we do that, I also just want to say there's a lot we do. Like, we have a big email list, we have our Instagram and our Reddit. So we're going to kind of decide also, I think, not just some strategy, but what we're going to advocate for. So this is your chance to help shape what that is used for, all our socials and stuff. And, you know, I think that while we're super focused on the GMP right now, that fight is kind of going to be over in a month in a way. And there's still probably going to be some defense to play, right? Like, you know, the threat of this coming back next session, for example, but we may start, we're very used to advocating against budget cuts. So it might also be time to start thinking about what we can advocate for. And we are soliciting ideas for that as well. So it's like strategy or specific things like Tyler mentioned, or just things to advocate for. So we're going to call on people and give them the mics. And I think we also have a queue of people raising hands. Yeah. Well, here, we'll do in-person question first and maybe chat.
So on the topic of things we can advocate for, TRE Sunday service.
That's a popular one, as it seems.
Better late night and evening service.
Well, what
So,
do you mean evening?
like mainly the bus routes
Evening service is pretty good, right? Or you mean like night?
night.
Yeah, evening
Like-
service is like rush hour.
But like in the province, the night service is only like every 30 minutes.
That's if you're lucky. It can be hourly.
Yeah.
So we could just advocate for like those frequency improvements, TRE Sunday service. Let's go online.
Hey,
let's
Connor, just calling people and
yeah, let's get online. There's someone online. Hold on. All right.
There you go.
How do I?
know if you can.
If maybe you should go.
I don't add his feelings. I can't unmute people.
Oh, he muted himself. Or Caden, I think you're muted. Otherwise, I think you'd be able to talk and give us your suggestion. Just why don't you type your comment? Okay. Hey, Caden, you have my Discord, so if there's something, can you just like, you can type it here, whatever you want to say, or you can message me. All right. We got another suggestion from 229 man.
Better weekend service for all routes.
Yeah.
Because 229, for example, is 60 minutes on a weekend.
Sure. Yeah.
Sort of a similar thing. Better off peaks, especially on buses. Was it an hour on 229? And I've had off peaks of an hour on 254. So yeah, no.
All right.
Sort of how you guys talked about before of wanting better kind of diversity, and so how we need more people in South Dallas in data and representative, because they're a lot of the ridership and they don't often have a voice until cuts come up. I think along with that is, if you look around the room, there's not that many women here, and I think trying to improve that and solicit feedback maybe from urbanistas or whatever on like what we can advocate for on their behalf to improve transit for women and make them feel more comfortable.
I think something needs to be done about, especially in South Dallas where I live, like the number one just sometimes does not show up at all. I was half an hour late today because I showed up to the bus stop for the 12:25, never came. 12:40 never came. The 12:55 came at 1. And that sort of thing happens all the time in our neighborhood. And then they say, oh, we can get rid of GoLink because you have all these buses and trains. But what does that mean if they don't come and you can't really schedule your life around it?
Yes. So I'm hearing frequency, I'm hearing reliability, and I'm hearing diversity so far.
Can we have the chief of police at DART so we can explain about security? There's not enough security around the CBD at night and also the trains and the buses.
Yeah, I've noticed the security presence has been increasing lately, but at night, they could definitely do it better.
Yeah, that is something. If there's a specific like DART department you want to talk to, we could ask, and they may or may not show up.
So there's the tier 2 plan that's an existing document that
Yes.
would be awesome to advocate for and kind of keep pushing. And it addresses frequency, and coverage. Also, some projects that are going on at DART at the moment that would be really awesome to get data involved with. So they're doing wayfinding improvements and design. So it'd be really cool if we could have like a data focus group, or maybe even a session where we just throw all of our listening session where we just throw all our wayfinding improvement ideas at them. They're also still, I haven't heard a status update in a while, but they also are redesigning the bus shelters. So the prototypes are out now, and so it would also be cool to have, so it'd be also cool to have data kind of weigh in on the bus shelter redesign. And really, there's a lot of projects that DART has internally that they've communicated that they're open to having more engagement from data on. So it'd be cool to have data engagement on wayfinding, bus shelters, and anything else they're redesigning. Oh, like the next generation LRVs. That's another design process that we can weigh in on.
Yeah, so Hexel brings up a good point here in that a lot of what people have said falls under the tier 2 bus network plans. So we could always advocate for tier 2.
So directly bouncing on what Hexel said, the individual who's running the wayfinding redesign was at CAC a couple months ago. He specifically wants data's input. So, and that obviously we've been slammed, but now that we had a little more opening, I think that'd be a great move.
Hi, hi everyone. This is Caden coming in remotely. I would like to add on to that. I honestly forgot what I was going to say. Yeah, I think everyone in the room is bringing up a good idea, especially with Urbanistas. Who's that one? There's one person I'm thinking of who's really Courtney is probably one of the strongest voices that we have. Although I think definitely having more people and especially having those that are further involved with Urbanistas would be pretty good for us as an org. But and then I also agree with your point on South Dallas. I feel like there's a lot, not to call everyone out in the room, but I feel like a lot of us are coming from like kind of these northern-ish suburbs, like Richardson, Garland, Plano. One of us from Frisco, apparently. And then you also have me, who's starting to go back and forth between here and Denton. Not calling Denton a suburb, but So I definitely think if we have more awareness in South Dallas, that could also look, or the southern half of the service area, that could look really good for us.
Yeah, definitely. It also help for if we have any reps we need to convince we have their constituents, So, Hyacinth.
Two quick ones from me. In conjunction with Sunday service on the TRE, also all day 30-minute service on TRE and the Silver Line. Yes, thank you. And then a second one, sort of one part of kind of an answer to the reliability issue is DART's been talking about their core program, improving some of the more important bus routes with things like, we can advocate for things like bus lanes, better stops. I think one thing that would be especially helpful is trying to push for DART to start improving bus stops with slightly higher platforms that are actually level with the floor of the bus. Other Texas cities have been doing this, but DART really hasn't done this at all, and it's a big quality of life improvement.
Yeah, keep going with your suggestions. I also want to throw out, there's been some offices when we did lobby day that did ask us, what could we do next session? So you're advocating for something. So if you think of any state legislative ideas, especially ones that are like feasible. I know that's the tricky part, right?
Well,
let us know, but
Well,
also just keep saying
well,
whatever
what's
you're gonna
going
say.
I
what's
know
going
one
on
part
with
of the core program was transit signal prioritization, and I know COG has a program around that where they want to fund that.
Yeah, signal priority would definitely help with those late buses and canceled buses. We really need DART to stop nerfing themselves and letting them use their full budget so they can hire enough overtime. But
So on the subject of wayfinding, I think one like low-hanging fruit we can advocate for is better education on how to use the system. Like this is a subject that comes up frequently in discussion. Is like tap to pay is great, but it's not very well explained. And like speaking for myself, and I'm sure others in the room have like helped people like figure out like, oh, here's what kind of pass you need. Here's how to. I know part of that will be resolved with the new TVMs that they're rolling out in the next coming months, but I think education on how to pay for the system is a very low-hanging fruit that we can advocate for.
Yeah, totally agreed, Liam. We need some like more outreach stuff, like give people the warm fuzzies about trying to ride a bus. Like, I think content like that would be good. What Hexel suggested for leading up to Week Without Driving, that's the kind of stuff we need to be doing all the time. Maybe not every single day, but having opportunities to educate people and local leaders, we should take advantage of.
I actually like this idea because this is more, we don't have to advocate for it and hope someone else does it. We just can do that, right? On social media, I'll reiterate this. We will need extra help. If you can do what Rohan has done on our Instagram, please reach out. Like, we're desperate. Anyways.
All right. Oh, wow. I didn't realize how much this thing was on. Anyway, mine isn't so much an idea as it is outreach to augment whatever push we want for ideas. Because after January 8th, noticing the turnout, especially from South Dallas, and this would fall under David. I'd love to jump in and help with you on this. But reaching out to some of these churches, reaching out to these dialysis centers, healthcare facilities, the VA hospital down on Lancaster at that stop, all of these people that are so highly dependent on paratransit especially, that is an incredibly good look for us because it's like, look, this is who we're defending. And that is an incredibly bad look for anybody trying to bring down to the tamp down transit funding. Right, especially veterans, man. I need to buy me another Navy hat so I can do that. But anyway, but you get my point. Reach out to these organizations below. See if we could leave some flyers in their lobbies. See if we could, have, an afternoon to speak up at some of these places and be like, hey, this is how you navigate DART. This is how you navigate paratransit, specifically for that kind of thing. And I had another one, but I lost my train of thought. But a lot of that was inspired by January 8th. Who's next?
Yeah, I think you mean July. Yeah, so we are actually talking to the Brain Injury Network a little bit on Instagram, and keeping them informed of like whatever threats to DART, I think is like, like we didn't have those contacts before, but now if there's ever legislation again, we can talk to the Brain Injury Network or My Opportunities, and they can go down there and testify, and they have really powerful stories. Yeah, so. Right.
Churches too. I would want to reach out to a lot of those black churches in South Dallas. They're going to get the word out. That's going to drive them to turn out.
True.
Those are some actions.
Is there anyone who hasn't had the mic yet that wants to speak? Okay.
So I would say two things. One would be affordability. In general, you can tell, I think, that Abbott and the legislature are scared of housing affordability because it's getting crazy, right? And if we link ourselves to that in that, okay, if you just focus the value of housing around North Dallas, it's not going to work. if you have a transit system that spreads that capability and that expansion, it's actually a better system and a more affordable system for everybody, right? People that don't use transit still appreciate that a lot. Even people in Highland Park that need their service and other people to come into the city evidently want a shuttle for it. So, you know, I think we can appeal to a large array of people with that message versus our own internal messaging about we want this and that about transit, which people who don't use transit yet don't really respond to that messaging. And I think the other one is visibility. So when we talk to elected officials, if we can do so on transit or near a transit center between two buses, I don't know what it is, but you know, and making sure that we show that these people are on a bus. These people have been on a bus. Maybe we don't talk to them unless they are going to be on a bus or on a train or something like that. And we also show how, look, they didn't die. They were on a train. They were on a bus. They didn't have a terrible experience. And maybe sometimes they had an awkward experience or a weird experience, but that's life and it's okay. I would like to see more reality brought in context of our legislators and our government officials, because I think their disconnection from it is causing a lot of this.
Well, just real quick, those of you who know me know this is my pet peeve is transit-oriented development, and I have a vision for a high-speed rail station that's transit-oriented instead of dead ending in a parking lot. And if we could get the municipal leaders to realize that how stupid this is, and to actually have the high-speed rail connect with the national rail system that's already in place instead of dead ending in a parking lot. That's something that in the future, looking ahead, perhaps we can advocate for.
I've been looking at it. I haven't seen anyone raising their hand. Yeah, I think we're good.
Is anybody else who hasn't had the mic yet? No? Okay.
So, before I go on with a few other suggestions I had, quick ones. I want to add on to what Hyacinth said. For example, Preston at Tulane and Plano, I was waiting for the 241, and the stop, there was nothing to stand on. It was literally just a patch of grass. There was nothing, not even concrete or anything. We need to improve. We need to advocate for improving stops, and for other improvements, possibly expanding the blue line to more far south, like Glen Heights, and I've not seen much expansion into southern suburbs, and we could also use expansion into northern suburbs too, especially with McKinney getting their national airport and Frisco literally needing to run a shuttle service borrowing school buses from ISDs so they can get to the temple, which I thought was pretty pathetic.
So, expansion. I'm surprised it's taken this long for that to come up. That's a tricky one, and it may require legislation change to really be realistic. But I would love for Southern Dallas County, Mesquite, Grand Prairie, and even all those cities to join. Yeah, Arlington. Ooh. And they need a new mayor. I'm not gonna lie. Their current mayors.
Yeah, on the bus stop amenities, maybe someone needs to send an email to Trey. I forget his last name. He's the head of capital projects. Trey Walker, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe we can get him to give us a presentation.
What we really need for expansion too, so whenever there's a candidate in like a Duncanville or maybe a McKinney or whatever that wants to actually campaign on expanding, we need to like be aware of that and support that.
We should advocate for like outdoor boarding and possible stop consolidation.
Stop consolidation. Yeah, some routes like Route 9 maybe. Yeah, I think the stops are already pretty well consolidated in the suburbs. I
But in
think.
the city.
Yeah, and some of those old Dallas neighborhoods, they're really not. Yeah.
And also better sidewalks, which is kind of a
Yeah. Yep. But we can advocate for city, for DART, or the state. We've done all three. We have done all three.
So in addition to all of us going to the gym and getting super jacked over the next 2 years, I think having some sort of program, and I need to think about this a lot, of getting people into positions that are appointed or elected from data. I've talked about this before, like, hey, you can join your park council, your park commission or any ad hoc commissions that pop up. You can do planning and zoning, that kind of thing. That gets you in. And it does start with forming a relationship with a city councilor usually. So I think we could almost design a program or have some work sessions with not just people here, but other people of hey, yelling at people only does so much. We need to take power because that's what our enemies are doing. So we've got to be, I think if we can formalize that a little more, we could really build a good base.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, there's also community organizations that are not governmental that you can get involved in locally that kind of help with that networking with your council member and stuff like that.
So my personal experience working with data, going to city council, them knowing my face, talking to Mayor Babbitt. I actually talk to Mayor Babbitt a lot. Yeah, well, personally, he's not so bad. Most politicians are not so bad if you go one-on-one with them. And despite our disagreements, because of the engagement that you have with your city, even just talking about transit and talking about land use, talking about all this sort of stuff, he actually recommended that I apply to join a board of commission. And he doesn't have a vote on that. And then you go to other community meetings, council members are going to be there, you talk to them. They know who you are already because you've yelled at them from the mic. And some of them are willing to kind of take your application into consideration because they have a vote on whether you can join a board of commission or not. So you just got to kind of build it up with your relationships with the cities. So getting involved starting from here is very important. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'll let.
Okay, this is my pet peeve. Why is there the mirrors? And I don't understand why they're electing mirrors on board. The people, that's what's getting me on my pet peeve because I don't understand that. And it's really getting to be my last nerve.
I feel that. It's a little conflict of interest-y, I think, after this budget cycle, we might be in a we might have times where it's slow news, who knows, maybe not. So I think using these meetings as platforms for board members, council members, or state representatives to speak more often, that might be good. Just
Okay, there are no hands, so I can go my little ramble. I think networking with community organizations like you mentioned, like Brain Injury Network, My Opportunity, groups like that have large transit dependent. Transit's not what they do, but it kind of dovetails what they do. I think networking with them will be very important because there's only so many transit nerds out there. I think half the transit nerds in the Metroplex are in this room. And those groups can have a lot more political pull than us, even if they're nonpartisan. And just we can help keep them informed on what DART's doing, and they can help us advocate more effectively.
And back on that point, and rotating back around to that, when you're talking elderly, disabled, disenfranchised minorities, it's just reminding everybody what the stakes are of these transit cuts. And I finally remember the other thing I was thinking of. Last call service, man. Go over to Deep Ellum and say, hey, let's go to bars, go some of the restaurants over there and say, hey, we'd like to push this service to help shuttle more people in and out, to extend DART to better hours so we don't have to cram these, Commerce and Elm with Ubers and everybody looking for their car. Would you guys like to be in on that? And that helps build relationships with some local businesses in those areas.
So you mean extending the service span?
Yeah, extending the service span for Fridays and Saturday nights at last call, like to at least 2:33 a.m.
Yeah, only doing it on Friday and Saturday, that's achievable. That's more realistic than
That's only like
7 days
$20
a
million.
week.
Or like, okay, maybe it's more like $5 or $10 million.
You do it. Yeah.
So both of those ideas, like the paratransit focused folks, the disabled, both of those are just incredibly good PR.
So another thing you can do is like just normalize saying you took the bus to things. Because our friends who are using paratransit or have a medical need or an elderly need, it's essential for them. But like taking public transit is like a normal thing to do. It's okay to be somebody who's like 30-ish taking the bus. And I think if you talk about it with your friends and just kind of be like, yeah, I did this. I see quiz screenshots from your friend or your cousin who you just keep clowning on for not taking the bus to like, normalize it. Like, cause you can use it just to go about your life. It's not always a lifeline. It is a choice. In doing that, Curtis might have something for it. And I think this should be our last.
I'm sure Hexel is going to have some fun buttons for Week Without Driving you can wear to subtly tell people you take the bus or you didn't drive.
I think a lot about what we talked about of that the cities hold, whether they realize it or believe it or not, they hold all the power, and then you have the ability to influence them. Like the DART board, most of the stuff that the cities complain about DART, it's their own doing through how the DART board votes. And so try and get them to realize that and to pay attention to care. If you have to inform them, is what it is. But then other stuff like you talked about, like, oh, there's no sidewalk next to this bus stop. DART doesn't make sidewalks. That's the city. And it's like, oh, it's not walkable to the bus stop, so we have to put them really close together. So the bus gets stuck longer and it's slower. That's the city. They didn't build good infrastructure. So it's like a lot of the stuff around like having a good transit service. You need to have good sidewalks and good walkability and land use, all that stuff. And that's all the cities. And then the cities are trying to do these budget cuts that prevent better service. So I think just, even if it's just putting in surveys, if it's talking to them, like, hey, I took the bus and this was difficult. And they're like, oh, I didn't even know there was a bus there. Well, like you can normalize that conversation and personalize it with you as a person just trying to make things better. In my experience talking to council members, all of them are old and out of touch, but some of them try not to be. They're like, yeah, I don't really get it, but like, can you explain it to me? Like they can't even fathom not driving like 2 feet. And so just trying to be like, hey, I'm doing this is what I'm doing. And they're like, oh, I see. Just like simple conversations that you can slowly build up to can help them be a lot more sympathetic to what is kind of like an outside issue for them.
I want to piggyback off Tyler and Curtis real quick. It's something everyone in this room and everyone online can do. I think cities probably need to see, and city council members, state legislators, and their staff need to see more positive stories about DART. And one easy way to do that is to talk about it on Reddit. No, I'm serious. That Reddit is power. Right? Like there's mayors watching it.
Dallas Morning News reporters read our Reddit.
City council members, I assume some state staffers, and you can always cross-post into r/Dallas, which who knows who's watching that, tons of people. But even your own social media where it may or may not be seen, who knows, but something to think about. If they start seeing people talk positively about DART, might help change even if we have our negative experiences, right?
If you want to, you could also try posting on Facebook or
Ooh.
Nextdoor or
Yeah, Facebook could be a good one. Put it in the right appropriate group. What's that Dallas group on Facebook? That the one. No,
Dallas Reform.
Dallas Reform. Reform Dallas. Reform Dallas. That one. We can post our propaganda. Just kidding. It's not propaganda. Is that like a? I won't ask that. Anyways, the meeting is up, but is there anything we need to close on? We have the meeting at 5 or the dinner at 5. Yeah, 5 o'clock. Ye old pumpernickel. Ye old pumpernickel.
Wait.
Right there.
It's just go up Ackerd. Just go up Ackerd and hang a left, and it's on the south side of the street, like a block over.
Hexel, we did it for you. You aren't there.
And you remember, just remember, Hexel said this last time. They're letting us use the space for free. So, get a drink. Doesn't have to be alcoholic. Tip them, get some food. That chicken fried steak looked pretty good the last time I saw someone get it. So I'm probably gonna get it. Okay. With that, Patrick, you can do the procedure.
Okay, the chair will entertain a motion to adjourn. Hexel moves. Is there a second? All, if there's without objection, we are adjourned.
Yes, you do.